should have done that before I started recording, really, shouldn't I? Hey you, how you doing? Hope you're all right. I'm fine. Thanks for asking. If you did ask, if you didn't, I'll tell you anyway. So I've been doing the top 5 best new bands. That was a video. Top 5 like debuts. Top 5 UK bands. It ended up being like 7, and then a top 5 which ended up being 6 and kind of 7 US bands. But one of them were Cancer Bats, and they're Canadian, aren't they? And nobody pointed that out, you morons. I could pretend like I put that in there as a little thing, but I didn't. So that was, we'll call it the North American top 7, that was. And I said I'll do the top 5 from the rest of the world, and that's what this is actually. Now, before I start, I'm just going to say again, these will definitely change. I've not heard the new Northlane album, which I understand is very, very good. And if you want to hear me talking about 2 of the albums that would be probably 1 and 2 on this list, and on this channel you can find reviews of that, Refused, and that Thy Art Is Murder, from Australia and Sweden respectively. And so I'm not going to talk about that anymore, but just in case anyone goes, what about Refused? That's why. So this was probably the hardest one, because I didn't want to just pick everything from Europe, but I kind of have done that anyway. The first one I want to pick is a band I'd never heard of until recently. In fact, just between me and you, I probably shouldn't be telling you about this record just yet, because I'm reviewing it for the Metal Hammers. And they're a Swedish band, a 3-piece called Black Temples. The album's called It All Ends. I got this recently. Lovely surprise. One of the best things about my job is when Jonathan Seltzer, the Metal Hammers reviews editor, will send me a record and just go, "Can you just review this?" And I know nothing about it, and it's great. And this is like it's kind of that bass heavy hardcore music, but it's done. It's kind of like the Black Spiders, right? Playing hardcore. That's how I describe it. So they're a rock and roll band, but they come from that kind of Scandi rock tradition, I think. But at the same time, it's a lot heavier and a lot more burning heart than previous sort of Scandi rock bands like the Helicopters or the Backyard Babies might be. So the band are called Black Temple. The debut album is called It All Ends. Just proper rocking 3-piece. There's a song in it called Difficult Journey, which will make you want to drink beer like load. I've had 2 beers today, which is not like me. I'm not a big drinker, which is fucking fascinating. This is the second album on my list. This comes from Belgium's own. Let me see. I can never pronounce their name without actually reading it. Racket Cannon. That's how you say it. Yeah, I've never been able to do that. This is number 2. Racket Cannon number 2. I've never heard the first Racket Cannon. When it came to the reviewing, recommending the top 5 best debut albums of the year, this was on the list, and then I realised that it was their second record. But I mean, I should probably go and listen to the first one. I believe it's on SoundCloud, and so should you, really. But firstly, you should probably start with this one, because it's fucking great. It's really great. If you like the Melvins, if you like kind of post-hardcore from the mid to late 90s, Jade Tree and No Idea and Revelation Records type stuff, jangly, loud, abrasive, and kind of noise, like wide, spacious amounts of noise, but then with bigger riffs a la the Melvins. This is really great, and there's a weird kind of undercurrent of electronic soundscapes running through underneath it, so it gives it a kind of a psychedelic twist. This is a really, really fucking good album, and it's very challenging and it's very interesting. And the band are called Racket Cannon. They're from Belgium. You should go and get that. You should definitely go and get that. From Norway, on a similar sort of trip, being quite spacey and open and progressive, Ishan's backing band, well, I don't think they are anymore, but that's Leprous. The album's called The Congregation. This came out a couple of months ago, and I've just got into it. It's been a few listens, and I was like, not sure. Saw them at Techfest, and they were really, really good. The first night at Techfest, they totally stole the show. And although, again, I shouldn't really be saying that, because that's going to be in the Metal Hammer magazine, which I should be encouraging you to buy because you don't know what's in it. but I didn't review them at Techfest, so I'm just going to say it's really good, and they're really good live. I saw them at the Underworld on the same night as Alice in Chains played Ali Pali. I went to see them at the Underworld. I was a bit pissed off that I wasn't going to see Alice in Chains, but they played probably the most ambitious set I've ever seen at the Underworld in my entire life. TVs, stage set, stage show, and it is kind of that icy progressive metal that Ishan does now, but they've got the vocals are much more lilting. He actually reminds me of Kate Bush, weirdly, the vocalist, but it's not really heavy in the sonic traditional sense of the word, but it's quite emotionally weighty. And I think if you like bands like Anathema or Ishan Solo stuff or Catatonia or even Devin Townsend to a certain extent, I think you will probably enjoy this album a lot. That's what it looks like if you need to know what it looks like. Right down the complete other end of the spectrum, from Sweden, I've been a massive fan of this band for 15, 16, 17 years. Still never seen them live, but I've been, like I say, bang into them for a very, very long time. And I'm glad to see them back. Raised Fist, man. From the North, wicked album. Just a wicked, wicked album. They play hardcore, and it's not metallic hardcore, it's not metalcore, it's not crossover. It's proper hardcore, like Agnostic Front, or Madball, or Sick of It All, or any of those bands. They belong in that category of bands. If you like that sort of thing, you know exactly what you're going to get. Big, bouncy, rubble smashing guitar parts, chant along choruses, super catchy, super bouncy, 2.5 minute long songs about the state of the world, and it's as good a Raised Fist album as there has ever been, and it's great to see in 2015 a band coming back with such a wicked body of work so late in the day in their career, because they haven't released an album for the last 6 years, so it's been a little while. Last one, this is where basically making up my own rules essentially, because I did the 5, 6 best British ones, and I kind of forgotten about that, but I think it was this or Unleashed, the Swedish sort of Viking metal band, who are alright but don't do anything Amon Amarth haven't really done before, but I quite like that album. But you know, if you like that sort of style, you'll probably really like it, but it's nothing particularly original. So because they've got a Canadian lead singer, I'm picking Gallows, Desolation Sounds. I know that Gallows are about as British a band as a band can possibly be, but I just wanted to recommend the new Gallows record, because I think, having been worried about them for a while after Frank Carter left, a lot of people talking to me about the Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes thing, still not listened to that yet. You know, I kind of, you don't have to pick a side, but I have, and I've picked Gallows' side, really. I didn't really like Pure Love, and now Frank kind of coming back with his tail between his legs, doing hardcore and doing punk again. I'm a bit like, come on, mate, like, you let me down last time, so I'm not really sure. I should listen to it though. I should probably listen to it. I'm not, you know, I'm making a snap judgment, but I'm just not excited about the thought of it, I guess. And I wasn't particularly excited by the thought of Gallows without Frank. And I thought the last album, the self-titled album, was all right. I really liked it when it first came out, but it really kind of, it's sort of a halfway house between. I think it's the album they needed to make between Grey Britain, which is a fucking 10 out of 10 masterpiece, and Desolation Sounds, their new one, which is the most rounded album of their career. It's emotionally quite different, and it's got lots of elements of post-punk kind of early 80s bands like Killing Joke and The Cure and Public Image Limited. They've started writing those kind of songs, and they've tried to make their sound a lot broader. I don't like the word broader. It's a shit word, but it's what I've, you know, here we are. But I think it's really good. I think it's got some songs on it which stand up in terms of, you know, viciousness with anything from the Orchestra of Wolves album, but at the same time there is this new strand of more laid back, more differently paced Gallows. That's not to say they're doing ballads or anything. Bonfire Season, which was the first single off the record, I didn't really like it when I first heard it, and then it kind of slowly crept into my consciousness. It sort of wormed its way in, Now I love it. Like, I really do. So I think you should get a new Gallows album. Bit cheeky to say best album from a band that aren't from the UK or North America. Because, yeah, North America, he's Canadian as well, so I've got absolutely no right to be talking about that. So maybe fuck that one off. But anyway, Raised Fist is brilliant. Leprous is brilliant. Racket Cannon's brilliant. Black Temple's brilliant, although you didn't hear that from me. Refused, obviously, is brilliant. And the best one's probably The Art is Murder. But then if you want to hear in more detail what I think about them, go and have a look on the fucking channel, you lazy prick. Why should I have to deal with the fucking work for you? Anyway, listen, right? Any ones you like, what have I missed out? Best albums? I could do a worst albums of the year list, couldn't I? That'd be out of order, wouldn't it? It's probably what you people want, isn't it? You're shallow and just like pure negativity. So I probably won't do that actually. Anyway, what albums did you like? Any album you like? Top 5 of the year. Whack them in the comments. Tell me what you'd like to review or talk about. And because I have very little imagination, I will do that. I will fucking do that. See you later.